Here.
Mr. Spangler.
Here.
Mrs. Wright.
Here. Pledge of allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the presentations.
Yes, we do. We have a federal grant presentation, and we wanted to share with the board some of the federal grant dollars that we have been afforded over last year and how those dollars were spent, and then also what we have coming this year and some proposals for how those dollars will be used. So I'm going to introduce Cameron Moore and Dr. Marty Savino will be part of the presentation.
Thank you very much, Madam President. You have in front of you two sheets of paper. One talks about the grants from 2011-2012 school year, and the other refers to 2012-2013. Just want to kind of give you an overview. We receive federal grant dollars through the Consolidated Continuous Improvement Plan from the Ohio Department of Education. So they're not grants in the sense that they're not competitive. We don't apply for a certain amount of money. The money is allocated to us based on our demographics and the purpose for the grant. Some of the grants that I am responsible for managing include Title I, which is for students who are at risk of failure within our district on our academics, in their academic areas. The funding actually comes to us based on free and reduced lunch, but the service that's provided is based on academic need. In 2011-2012, we received $904,765.64. If you'll notice, in 12-13, this year, we have $506,160.10. So a difference of almost $400,000. Some of that is a result, in the past years, we've received also ARA dollars. If you'll remember, the stimulus money that came to us, so that was also tied to Title I. So there ended up being additional funding that carried over to the next year, which is why last year we had such a large sum of money. It usually averages between $300,000 and $500,000 a year. With that money, basically we hire Title I tutors to work with our students and provide intervention. It's a supplement to their regular instruction within the classroom. We also buy supplies, offer professional development, and some money is set aside for family and community. Every year we have a Title I parent night. Last year we also had a reading night at Echo Hills. We bring a speaker typically to talk with our parents about reading and math instruction. In 12-13 we had, in 11-12 we had Title I ARA money, $280,066.73. I talked a little bit about that earlier this year and how we were going to be using that money. We were able to hire 4 additional Title I tutors for the end of the school year, as well as we provided a summer intervention for 3rd graders. We had 120 students that were identified as needing summer intervention at the 3rd grade level. 25 of them participated, and we were able to provide transportation for them. And I have some data that I can share with you at another time regarding not only how well the students did during those 3 weeks, but also we gave them kind of an enjoyment survey, qualitative, to see how they liked reading before and after. And they're very promising, and the kids actually enjoyed coming those 3 weeks in the summer. We also purchased iPads and supplies for use in our Title I classrooms and in the summer program. The kids, of course, liked doing that this summer. And professional development was provided with that ARA stimulus money. This year, you'll notice 2012, 2013, that money is no longer here, so you'll see 0. We no longer have that money available. Title IIA in school year 2011-2012, we received $120,972.60. Part of that money is used to reduce class size, and it paid for the salary of our 1st grade teacher at Indian Trail to reduce our class size, as well as professional development, and we have to give a small portion to our non-publics in the district based on their enrollment. This year, we have $110,663.78. We again are going to hire a teacher, this time to reduce class size at Fish Creek first grade. Also, those funds are used for professional development, and a small portion does go to Foley Family. Title IID is our technology money. You'll see in 11-12 we received $3,735.76. That was used for Google training. This summer we had, how many staff members? 77 different sessions that we were able to offer out of that money. You'll notice this year there is no money set aside for Title IID. Sometimes it drops in later, so it's always possible that we could get a few $1,000s. Title III, there are two Title III. There is a Title III Immigrant and Title III LEP, Limited English Proficient. In 2011-12, we received $3,654. That was used to purchase Rosetta Stone and different supplies for our immigrant students. We have a license to offer English through Rosetta Stone as to supplement our ESL, English as a second language instruction. This year, we have $11,700 that will help offset the cost of one of our ESL tutors and supplies. Also, you'll notice in 11-12, there was a grant for education jobs of $21,904.09 that paid for a portion of a teacher. This year, that funding is no longer available. Questions about those particular federal grants?
Yeah, I have a question on the iPads.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good choice. It's something now you can use in the future.
Absolutely.
And what I've read, it really does help a lot of disadvantaged kids in using it. I'm not, no, you got to go with the new technology and all that. But yeah,
It's
I've
another
read
tool.
that does help it. And how have you used that?
We did use it this summer mostly. We were able to use it a little bit in the fall, or I'm sorry, end of school year last year with our Title I students. But it was mostly used this summer in our intervention. We purchased apps that could be used for phonics instruction, for reading some books. There were also some visual discrimination, which is a pre-reading skill, finding things, hidden pictures, I guess would be a better word for it. But mostly it was reading and writing instruction to supplement the instruction. In the future?
What would be your ratio approximately as a student to an iPad?
They will be used in small group, so one iPad per student in that small group.
Oh, okay, so they'll get it for a period of time.
Exactly.
A day. Okay.
Exactly, yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Sure. Other questions about these particular grants? Thank you. I'll turn it over to Dr. Murray.
Thank you. Good evening. My presentation to you this evening is regarding the IDEA Part B federal funds that we receive. And IDEA, again, stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. I have 3 documents in your file regarding IDEA. One, something I will discuss shortly with you, and that's just a breakdown of how the funds have been used the last 2 years, 2011-2012 school year, and then of course this school year. I also provided for you a copy of what we are given regarding a guidance document, the allowable and the non-allowable expenditure of the funds. And that's a good document for all of us who's in charge of looking at the funds and putting those monies to good use on whether that's something that can be used or not. And then the third document is what is presented every year. It's on the district website in special services. It's presented to all of these special education teachers, as well as it goes into Stow Century, and that is what I call our public annual notification, that the district has received IDEA funds, and therefore if there is anyone in the community that wishes to have comments regarding the use of those funds, then they can contact me. The first is, again, in the 2011-2012 school year, Stow Munroe-Falls City Schools received $1,268.48 of IDEA funds. This school year, the district was allocated a total of $963,232.45, and that is a reduction of $39,433.76. $36.some. We were informed that many districts across the state have lost a significant amount of money this school year. I'll give you a little bit of background. Prior to the school year 2002, districts received IDA funds based on the number of students with disabilities within their district. And depending on that category of disability, the amount of money that we received. If you have a student with autism or a student with multiple disabilities, we received more money per student than perhaps someone who has a speech or language disability. What happened as of 2002, the federal government no longer provides allocations based on what we call our head count, but what they do is look at, for every local education agency, they look at base amount for our district, and then based on our poverty and any discretionary funds. So it's difficult from year to year to kind of set or to know what our amount will be. Many of the programs that IDEA funds are identical from year to year, and those programs are those very board actions that the superintendent brings to you every month to approve, and such as this year our IDEA funds will fund a student attending the Cleveland Clinic Learner School for Children with Autism, also a student who's attending Blick Clinic, a number of students who require alternative education program through the Harbor Education or the LEAP program. We also, every year, we contract services. We contract 52 days of a behavioral consultant through PEC. We also contract through United Disability a certified vision support teacher who works with many of our vision impaired students regarding Braille instruction or functional use of vision skills, plus consultation with the classroom teacher, as well as United Disability provides an orientation and mobility specialist, again for students with visual impairments. We contract with Family and Child Guidance for Mrs. Sally Dean, who is a full-time mental health social worker that we house here at the high school. We also contract with Summit County ESC for the administration and delivery of preschool program, plus Mrs. White, who is our parent mentor for the district, as well as we purchase 5 days of an educational audiologist. We contract with PRN for our occupational and physical therapy services. We also contract for a student for music therapy. In addition, we compensate a parent for transporting her child to and from Cleveland Clinic. And this year, we will be contracted with Kent State Transitional Program for vocational trainings for some of our students with more involved needs. Other items that are funded yearly through our grant, a percent of the cost of myself, as well as Mrs. Zagravic, who is the supervisor, and Mrs. Pyland, who is the administrative assistant for special services. We pay for classroom supplies for teachers, as well as for speech pathologists, professional development. Last year, we used our IDA funds for a number of different professional development for our staff in the area of inclusion, autism, crisis intervention, students with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, as well as we pay for our annual Special Education Leadership Conference registration, which is critical for us to go and again be up to date on what new resources and advances there are in the state for educating our students with special needs. We do spend some money on technology. In the past, we have purchased computers and iPads. Specifically, yearly, we seem to purchase more and more amplification units for classrooms, not only critical for students with hearing impairments, but also for students that have difficulty, with hearing, maybe because of allergies, or who need to have more audible prompts because of ADHD or inability to focus. Every year, we're spending our money on school psychologists, testing protocols, and resources that they use with their families or in their small groups of effective education that they do with their children, as well as for office supplies. Last year, because we had additional monies, we were able to purchase one bus that was used for transporting only special education students, as well as we were able to pay for an additional aid support for a student at Echo Hill, and we paid for adding 2 half-time intervention specialists One was at Echo Hills and one was at Woodland, and that was due to the class size exceeding the state mandate. This year, at this time, we will be paying for the program costs for one of our kindergarten students who has been accepted and will be attending Akron City School in their deaf education program. Any questions regarding individuals with disabilities education gap? And again, it must be used for students with disabilities, so either for teachers who work specifically with students on an IEP, or for a specific student because of their disability that impacts their ability to be successful in the general ed curriculum. They may need additional assistive technology or resources.
Yeah, I got it.
Yes, sir.
Harbor is one that you brought up, and we're going to vote on some of those tonight.
Yes.
And that can change throughout the year. Now, will the funds change throughout the year along with that? I mean, it's not right now you're saying 960,000, but if we get some students that come into our district and now and they have a problem, like some of these students aren't originally from our district, I know we have to pick up some of that cost. So then will we get additional funds then to cover that?
No, this is the total amount of money that we get. So I try to save some money so that right off the bat we're not spending everything. So yes. Because again, we recognize there are students that require an alternative education program, despite we have excellent teachers, and we try to educate them here, the least restrictive, but there are still some students with significant behavior.
So if we had an influx of maybe 10 students that came in mid-year or something, and we had to go to Harvard with them, that would go right away, take away from your budget.
It would, yes. Although,
if they were
if they were out
out of our district.
of our district, we do not pay for that tuition with our IDEA. That has to come out of general fund, because what happens at the end of the year, we charge those districts back for excess costs. And the auditors do not permit us to pay that. If there are students, then when you act on that recommendation for that placement, it would say paid with IDEA funds, yes. However, there could be those times, Mr. Armstrong, where we will have to go to the general fund in order to pay for something.
Right, but then
Yes.
we would rebuild that.
Yes.
For the home district.
Correct.
And I think there's a couple tonight. Okay, thank you.
The only more questions?
So say if you pick it up the following year, if they move in the district, we got to pay those costs this year, the following year.
Yeah.
Hopefully this year, yeah. We should be in that.
But again, every year we have IEP meetings and we look at, how successful the students are, and very often we are able to bring them back into the district after they've been 1 or 2 years out. So we're happy with that. And again, any community members that wish to come in and look at any of our grants, we have them available for review at the Board of Education office, and we'll make that available to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Dr. Marty. Mrs. Moore, appreciate the fine presentation. Make one more presentation this evening. As I think the board is aware, we have been looking at every way we possibly can to reduce cost. We have an energy education savings program that was presented earlier this summer. We're still kind of looking at that and trying to get some questions answered. One of the other areas we've been looking at is the use of solar panels on top of our buildings to see if we can save some dollars making that happen. So we've had a series of meetings, and we have a presentation tonight, and entertain any questions the board might have. So it's my privilege to introduce Kevin Cogman from Solar Planet, and he has a presentation.
Steve, thanks very much. I don't even know if I need this. I'm going to just do really about a minute of introduction of Dave Dwyer while he figures out while he hooks up into the computer. Got a fancy dancy PowerPoint presentation to show you. We are, as Russ mentioned, we are Solar Planet, and mindful that school districts have quite a burden on them to show good stewardship of taxpayer dollars to the community, to try to reduce the bottom line of your cost of doing business. And then also a lot of them have interest in being green, being environmentally and socially responsible. We are proposing, and what Dave's going to roll through, I'll kind of give you the 1 minute cliff notes. We are proposing to do a project here with the Stow Munroe-Falls schools in which Solar Planet will provide solar systems for your buildings, which we think you get about a 4 megawatt capacity district-wide. That would cost you about $20 million to put solar in. No school district has that. Solar Planet will pay for that and provide solar systems at no capital cost to you. In return, for a 25-year period of time, you buy the power off of those panels that go into your building at a rate that's negotiated, but tends to be far less than what you're paying your incumbent utility now. The average, I think you're about 9.5 cents or so per kilowatt hour. We start at 6 cents, and we have a fixed schedule going forward, so there's predictable pricing throughout the life of the deal. Included in that will be a guarantee that at no time in any given month of the agreement will your solar price ever be more than your first energy price. So it literally is a no-lose situation for the customers, for you, for the school district, and for your taxpayers. Solar Planet takes the risk, pays for all the capital up front, the rate that you pay, and their goal is to replace 80% of your first energy usage. That's really the max that they do, is 80%. So you're still, obviously, now and at nighttime, your meters are going to be run on the solar, on the first energy side. On a good sunny day, you're going to be running full capacity and probably putting some power back onto the grid and getting that metering for your first energy savings on that side as well. So it's a great deal. We're going to do probably over $200 million worth of projects over the next 3 years in the state of Ohio. Somebody's going to get them. I want districts that I know and I think can benefit from them to know about. And if it's something that serves your purposes, we'd like to work with you. Dave Dwyer is the chief engineer and the guy who designs the systems. He has a long history in renewable energy. He's our resident granola Birkenstock-wearing environmentalist company, but is also really one of the best designers that the country has in these, and he's very proud of the work that we do. So Dave.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, everybody. I've got a, I'm not a professional presenter, as you will find out shortly. But what, I've got 12 slides, and I'll go through them as quickly as I can. 2 of them are basically pictures, so that'll help. But, I'll give you, try to, the once over quickly about who we are, what we're doing, and what we propose for Stow Munroe. And this, what you see here is the big picture is the Centerburg High School project. It's a 1 megawatt project we put in last December, and it's fully operational and doing a great job at Centerburg High School. Some of the guys have been out to visit the Centerburg site earlier this year, and by the way, anybody who wants to ever come out there is welcome to take the tour, and I'll go personally on that tour with you. I'm very happy with this project. Anyway, about Solar Planet. Solar Planet is a subsidiary of Charlie's Grilled Subs. Charlie's Grilled Subs is an international restaurant chain that I never heard of until I came to Ohio. They're in all the airports. They're in shopping malls all over. There's about 500 stores around the world. And but I'm a vegetarian, so that's why I never saw them. In any case, and Charlie, who is kind of personally in charge of this, of our solar operation too, is he's building 2 new stores a week. So it's a pretty hot commodity. He started at OSU. He went to OSU. He's an OSU grad. Went there, started his first sub shop about 25, 30 years ago with his a loan from his parents, and he's done just better and better. He's an all-cash guy. His business doesn't have any debt at all. So, and he's committed also to Ohio. There are venues all over this country where we could probably make more money than we make in Ohio. But Charlie's central office is and always has been in Columbus, and he's committed to building up the Ohio schools with solar before going anywhere else. So he brought me in from Illinois a couple of years ago, and I figured I'd be here for around 6 months. And but I never met anyone in the solar business with the kind of commitment that this guy has. So that's why I stuck around. Most solar businesses go up and then they fall down very quickly. But Charlie's got the money, he's got the heart, he's got everything, this staying power, and he only does 2 things now. He only does subs and solar. That's it. And he's going to, I know he's going to do great with this. So here's what solar plant will provide the school district. All the design and build capital costs for systems. However those systems might turn out, we don't know now. It may be a little, it may be a lot, but it will make sense, and it's a cooperative effort between all of us and solar planning, because this is a long-term relationship. It's not like First Energy or AAP. This is a face-to-face, long-term thing, and we've got to make sure it works for everybody. All operations costs for operating the system, software, hardware, upgrades, everything. We take care of that. All the maintenance costs, regular and occasional. All necessary finance costs. We have all the financing. You've heard of other solar entities around the state who have built systems, some fairly large, mostly for utilities, not for schools. But that was during the rebate period. That's when grants and rebates were all over the place, but they're gone. The thing that sets Solar Planet apart is we have the money and the cash flow to have the staying power to make this happen. If you voted to start tonight, you said, Dave, we'll go for it if you start tomorrow. We could start tomorrow. I have the money to do it. No one else in the state does. And last and closest to my heart is we have all the renewable energy lab design and build costs. Now, renewable energy lab is a very innovative kind of structure, originated in Taos, New Mexico, but with all the renewable energy bells and whistles, and arranged and built in such a way that it's a community engagement effort, and it's a learning effort for the students. Solar Planet builds that at no charge to the schools. And it becomes yours to use in whatever way that you would like to. Here's what you got to come up with. The vision and commitment to do this. The legal review costs. We've developed this contract with Bricker and Eckert because they're so tuned into the Ohio schools and all the laws and all the rules that go along with the Ohio schools specifically. So it will only cost a minimal amount for your attorneys to go through this, fully understand it, and approve it. But those costs are yours. And it's going to cost $2,000 or $3,000 or something like that. The array and the equipment site, we got to have the site. There's no free lunch, and this is the not free lunch. We have to have the site near the source. So that's what you're going to come up with. Timely communications. We've got to be able to work with you, not for you, and not like a regulated utility. We've got to work with you to make this happen. And timely communication is critical to that. And then the solar monthly electric payments, which you'll know all of them in advance. You'll know what they are from day one. You won't have to guess. You won't have to wonder what it's going to be next month. You'll know. So, so that is the last thing that Stow Munroe provides. Why? Why would you do this? It's clean energy, and then everybody likes that now. And everybody knows what that means. And everybody knows it's a good thing. But that's not enough reasons by itself to do that, to do solar. Well, the electric power landscape in this state and all over the country is changing very quickly. And everything's becoming deregulated. Deregulation in Ohio started around 2005. It's supposed to be completed around 2015. Then it's going to be fully deregulated. And that means that somebody's not going to be watching over your shoulders like they were before. It's a fully deregulated market. I think those are the best markets. But there's a transition period that can be very tough if you're not ready for it. So the trust providers provide power generation and transmission. So they have the power plant, and they send the power from the power plant through transmission lines to First Energy. And then First Energy is the LDC, that's point 2. They deliver the power from the CREST provider to the school. So you have two kinds of charges. Transmission and generation is one, and then delivery is another. What Solar Planet does is that it provides generation, transmission, and delivery for one price. And we're sited very close to where we deliver it. The cost of delivered power, in the roughest terms, breaks down like this. Right now, CREST providers are offering generation and transmission for about 6 cents a kilowatt, or I think more in megawatts, $60 a megawatt. The local distribution companies offer delivery services for about $35 to $45 per megawatt. It varies from place to place everywhere in the state. And it varies from month to month a lot of times. But if you add those two together, it comes out to 95. And that's about what Stow Munroe is paying right now. It's about $95 a delivered megawatt, or 9.5 cents per kilowatt hour. For that delivered power, a Solar Planet charges 7 cents per kilowatt hour. And right now, we can do even a little better than that. We can do better than 7 cents. So that's the relative difference in the cost of delivered power between CREST providers, the LDCs, and Solar Planet. Now, the market deregulation has made a lot of things change. That means that market pricing will be the primary determinant in what electricity bills are finally in the end. Now, like I say, the PCOs decided we're going to reach that point in 2015, so that generation, transmission, distribution, demand charges, reactive power charges, riders will all be up for grabs. They'll all be deregulated. They'll all be changing from month to month. Now, in a deregulated market now, Stow Munroe and everybody else is, if they don't do anything, they become a speculator. They're betting their money that the market's going to do well by them. They're betting that everything's going to be okay, or everything's going to be kind of like it was, but it's not. It's like a stock market or a commodities market. It's going to change in that sense. So from month to month, you'll be looking at changes in your billing based on market prices for coal, for gas, for transmission contracts, for distribution contracts, for demand charges. So you'll be betting your money that that'll all turn out okay. What Solar Planet provides is different. It provides what's called a hedge. whenever you're in a market, whenever you're going to engage in a market, which you have to whether you like it or not in this case, you want to use a balanced portfolio that includes some speculation products and some hedge products. What Solar Planet provides is a hedge. It provides local power, clean power, for 25 years at an absolutely predictable price. So that no matter what happens in the marketplace with the rest of your electricity, no matter how it goes, you know what you're going to pay for the bulk portion of your power. So you can figure that right into your budget every year for the next 25 years, unless you decide to buy out the system in 4 or 5 years, or 5 or 6 years, which I would strongly recommend. But the hedge is kind of an insurance policy. It means that you can't lose too much if the market turns against you. So I probably got into it a little more than I should have, so I'll stop there. But it's good to be balanced. Before the PCO was looking after you, they were regulating the market, and now they won't be regulating it like they used to be. So that's what's going to change. Now, so here's some very basic examples of what the system can do. A 1 megawatt solar array, like you saw in the picture, that first picture, will produce 30,000 megawatt hours in 25 years. So the level I use, in my analysis, I only use levelized cost, only levelized cost. What that means is the average cost of power of a megawatt for the 25-year period of the solar contract, the average. So what you're paying now to the utilities, the cost of generated and delivered power is $178 a megawatt. That's just what I took off your electric bills right now. And the levelized cost of Solar Planet, or solar power, is $115 per megawatt hour. That's levelized over the 25 years. Now what that breaks down to in terms, like your electric bills in kilowatt hours. So what that breaks down to is the Solar Planet cost per kilowatt hour for the next 25 years is 11.5 cents per kilowatt hour. So what that means is that for 1 megawatt installed, Stow Munroe could save up to $2 million. That's a pretty good deal. But Stow Munroe, from what I could see of the study I've done, the little bit of study I've been able to do so far, is that it could support up to 4 megawatts of capacity. You use that much, you use much more than that electricity. And you seem to have the space around in all the schools. So that could save up to $8 million during the life of the contract. And possibly a great deal more, depending on what happens in the market. Solar Planet will give you the option of locking in a savings that's 10% less than utility rates, which are pretty easy to measure, which would save you about $1.6 to $2.2 million. But that's a guaranteed lock. So what we're doing there is we're betting on the utility prices. We're making that bet, and we're giving you a guarantee based on that bet. Okay? So,
Dave, can I just clarify something real quick before you go to the next slide?
yeah, please do.
So what Solar Planet's offering schools right now is basically 2 deals. Up top right, no, go back. Up top right there, you could save estimated up to $8 million over the life of the contract with a deal that would start at 6 cents in the first year, 6 cents in the second year, and then 7 cents plus a 4% escalator for the remainder of the contract. That would also include the guarantee that that price will never go above your first energy price.
Right, I was saving that for the end. Thank you, Kevin.
The second option, we haven't discussed. The second option we haven't discussed yet is just a simple, straightforward, your price will always be 90% of your first energy rate throughout the, yeah. So those are two pricing options that they have available. Obviously, you can save more for the other. Sorry, Dave.
Okay, well, that about wraps it up. So, basic offer, most basic terms. For us to install 4 megawatts of capacity could cost us up to $20 million. And that's what we're willing to put here, up to $20 million. Not that there would be any charges if it costs more. If it costs more, we pay it. But that's our estimate right now. So we have guaranteed savings and we have predicted savings. You know, basically two kind of options you can go with. And I would recommend a combination of those. We would get more into that in another meeting because that's a whole meeting by itself. But you have several good options. And then a solid hedge, balanced portfolio that has both speculation opportunities and hedge protection, insurance policy. And then this is my favorite, the opportunity for an unqualified real-life demonstration of all those good things. And I believe that stuff. That's why I'm here. It's not very businesslike, but it's true. So that's our offer to Stow Munroe-Falls. And we have a timeline. One of the problems with the solar business is because it's new to folks. The timeline from presentation to decision making is generally clunky and long. And a lot of people become discouraged. We don't, but on your side people become discouraged. It becomes a long political process instead of a design process. So we want to have a timeline. We have some financial components lined up so that if we can have a commitment to a design process in the form of a PPA by September 15th, we can not only hold these prices, we can do a little better because of some financial incentives that are available only till September 30th. Would we go forward with the project after September 30th? Yes. We're going to keep doing this for the rest of our lives, which in my case isn't that long anyway, but we're going to do it. But we have this special benefit until September 30th. We want to pass it along to you and a couple other folks. And if, a lot of people are going to say yes to this because it's, for example, a $20 million capital investment.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
If we could, I want to make sure the board has a chance to ask some questions. So we can kind of wrap up the presentation. That would be real helpful, and then they can get their questions.
All right. Okay. You get my Kevin. That's good because here's the last one, and there's nothing for me to talk about here. These are just the projects we got in progress now. I didn't include Nordonia in there. I'm going there tomorrow. But those are the relative costs, sizes and costs of the systems we have going now. And the 115 is the solar planet price per megawatt hour. The other prices are the utility levelized costs based on utility prices now. So you can see there's quite a bit of savings in there for all these projects.
And those are Centerburg High School, Centerburg Grade School, West Jefferson High School, and Anna Jefferson Middle School. And that's the first phase of the 8 megawatt, right?
Yeah. That's phase one.
David, can you go back to one slide?
Sure.
I think it's important for the board and the public to understand that Those solar panels you see there, the first picture you saw was all the panels on the ground at the Centerbrook High School, that big field, all that. This is a grade school. These sit on top of the grade school. You don't have all the panels out around the grade school. And I believe the elevation, Kevin, is the newer versions are 12 inches from the, or 14 inches from the ground up.
Yeah.
So you can barely even see it from the road. So they're not that big of a thing to see out like you saw at the high school. So as far as our grade schools, Kempton, those schools, I believe, most of those would be on the roof versus the ground, based on when you do your analysis. So I believe the high school would be the one, because of the amount of electricity it uses, would have to be more on the, some on the roof, mostly on the ground. Is that correct? Statement?
In a general way, that's right.
Yeah, I think that's important. There's two different ways it can go.
It's two different ways it can go, and I'm glad you brought it up, because I want everybody to clearly understand that we don't tell you where they're going. We work together and decide where they're going.
Right.
If there's some place where you say, well, this is not happening, and it doesn't happen, that's part of the deal.
Another point that should be made that you could help us on is that the roof doesn't get punctured. There's no integrity lost.
That's what I was wondering about, actually.
Pardon?
I was wondering about the same thing.
Okay, the roofs are, the solar panels are held in their framework and held onto the roof by what's called a ballast tray. It's an aluminum tray, and it has, every 4 or 5 feet, it has a cement block. And it meets or surpasses all the Ohio codes as far as wind loading and structural loading. And it works great. So this way, you can have a system like this, which covers the whole grade school at Centerbrook, and there's no holes in them. They're not A1, made by the solar array. So that's true.
I was impressed with that. When I climbed up on that roof and took a look at it, that was my first question. Where's the anchors?
You know, that was one of mine too.
Sure.
I'm really saddened that I wasn't asked to go along, you know, or do anything about going down to visit the, because I would like to go down and saw it.
Anytime
I probably will, you know, because we can't do that. We can't be more than 2 people, according to the Sunshine Law, for informative reasons. So, you know, I was completely left out of this whole deal coming into it, but fortunately I did get to meet with Kevin.
You didn't go and you didn't, Mike, right?
No, I didn't.
Well, let's move on. Solar is great. I have no problem with solar. We may have to go to that in the future. I don't know if it's going to be a timeline future that you're looking at. Could be, but there are other companies out there, and I did go in and look at some other companies. And I think before we commit anywhere, trust. One of the things we need to do, as a board, to be prudent. And I talked with Kevin about this, and he agrees too. We should go out there and look at the other companies. Another company's been in business since 1995. Charlie's been in business since 2009.
25 years ago.
Solar panels.
So
He got incorporated for his solar panels in 2009.
Yeah.
The other company's been out there since '95. So I mean, we need to do that. Another thing that kind of worries me, and I'm looking at this and you're saying $20 million investment, amortized over 25 years. That's $800,000 a year, right?
Or what?
You take the $20 million, you amortize it over 25 years, right? $800,000, 8/10 of a million a year, right? We only spend.
They're gonna.
I'm not talking. Okay.
Excuse me, just talk to us, okay?
Okay, I am.
All right, talk to these two folks.
That's what I'm talking to.
Good.
Okay, Dick, are you happy now?
I'm really happy. Talk to
Okay.
these folks.
know you've had your clandestine meetings and that, but that's okay, you know?
Clandestine?
Yeah, without telling the rest of the board that you were going off on your little meetings and all that, but that's fine then.
Let's move on.
Okay, no, let's move on. Let's move on, let's ask the question. $20 million is $800,000, right, a year. We only spend $500,000 a year right now on electricity.
Okay.
So that means we'd be pumping back another $300,000 a year worth of electricity over the next 25 years into the grid?
No, you know, this is really technological stuff. It doesn't lend itself to a 2-minute analysis. And I'll tell you that Charlie Shin created Charlie.
I agree, and if it's a way to go ahead.
Created Charlie Subs, and is now building 2 stores a week, and has 500. Studied this very, very carefully. Okay, so he's good with this. He knows it's a strong
I'm glad
financial
Charlie's
model.
good with it.
Right, and so that's why we can offer this electricity at this low price.
That's fine, but you're making you stated you were making a $20 million investment.
We can.
You said we need a 4 megawatt, $20 million.
If you need 4,
Okay,
and it costs
4
20.
megawatt, $20 million is $800,000 a year.
Okay.
Okay, that's your investment. You would never recoup back your investment.
Well,
So Charlie is out there saying, I'm gonna lose money.
As we discussed
This
in
is
our
a
meeting last
financial
month.
analysis that you'll need to do with somebody else.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
The financial analysis, you hit the nail on the head right there. And what I've read here, the first thing to do is do the financial analysis. The guide to solar energy even tells you to go out there, get multiple bids, okay? Because there are a lot of companies out there. A lot of companies have been out there for a long time. You know, it looks really good. If it is really good, then it is really good. Let's throw the financials out there. Let's look at it. Let's do a downtown job on this. Because this is for 25 years. This isn't a 5-year, this is 25-year contract. And that's what we have to do.
Dave, 2 questions have been asked.